guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me for another one of my videos today. So today I wanted to talk about the secret to truly letting go and surrendering. This is the #1 question that I get asked, and probably one of the biggest lessons that I myself have also had to navigate over the last few years of my spiritual journey. And it is one of the hardest steps in the law of attraction process, which isn't actually spoken about that much anyway, which makes it even harder for people to authentically do and to action because they don't know much about it. So I wanted to share with you guys today a video on how you can really embody this and what the secret, the key is to truly letting go and surrendering. And people very often have the misconception that letting go and surrendering means giving up on your desires or giving up. It's not going to happen, so you're going to give up. That is not true whatsoever. Letting go and surrendering is really looking at the attachment and the need for that manifestation in your life. So I'm going to walk you through the kind of steps of letting go and surrendering and how you can do this with each of your desires. But really where we need to start is looking at even before we get to the letting go and surrendering stage, because some people think they're in that stage, but when you actually look at it, they're even further back in the belief stage #2 because they are still having those fears or limiting beliefs, whatever it may be, or that fear of letting go. Truly, when you're in that stage 4 of letting go and surrendering with the law of attraction, if you want to learn more about my 5 steps to law of attraction as well, you can find it all in my new book, Positively Wealthy. But also I've done a YouTube video as well on this, which you can go and have a look at as well. So do have a watch of that if you're not familiar with them, because this will make a lot more sense to you and help you navigate these 5 stages, which I teach and love, because I do believe that it's not that simple as ask, believe and receive, which is probably why you're here watching this video, because you too have realized that it's just not that simple. So when you're in that stage 2 of believing still and you're working through anything that is standing in between you and your desire, obviously when I say to you your manifestation is not going to happen, or how does it feel to you to let go of this, you're going to be like, oh my god, what are you saying, Emma? That feels horrid. So this is where that work needs to be done. And don't worry, your manifestations are going to happen. I haven't just said that to like rain on your parade today. Your manifestations will happen. I always just say this, and I use it on myself too, to really identify if there's any limiting beliefs or fears or any work that I need to do, or any of my clients need to do to work to that authentic place of letting go and surrendering. So when you are authentically in that letting go and surrendering stage, it's very natural, it's very effortless, and truthfully that's how it feels. It's very effortless. It's not something you necessarily have to force. Yes, there may be a bit of repetition and a bit of like, you know, come on, we've got to do this to start off with, but majoritively it's a very flowing energy. It's a very flowing state where it feels natural and it feels right to do that. And the one thing I will say with letting go and surrendering, you cannot force it. It has to be authentic, it has to feel good, and it has to be in alignment with you. So if you're like trying to fake it and be like, I want to let go, I'm totally let go and surrender, but secretly like, I really freaking want this, obviously energy doesn't lie. The universe can read that. The energy will not lie. So your energy has to reflect the letting go and surrendering too, which is a relaxed state, which is a state where you are not worried about the outcome. You're not worried about anything because you trust. You've worked through that believe, that trust, that let go to receive. So you do naturally feel very calm. You do naturally feel very like, yep, I'm going with the flow. I'm very present. I'm enjoying life. I know that it's going to unfold in the best way possible. I trust the universe and I'm open to all possibilities. So really, to define letting go and surrendering in a nutshell is looking at your attachment to that desire. So do you feel attached to it? Do you need it? Is there desperation? Is there like a, you know, if it didn't happen, is it the worst thing to happen in the world? If it is, then that is where you need to start with. And again, it's not giving up. It's not saying that it's not going to happen. It's about saying, I trust that this or something better for the highest good of all will come into my life. And some really good examples of this is actually with my own books, that after getting like rejection after rejection after rejection with proposals from publishers, you know, I had my heart set on one particular publisher, and actually from going down that process and going down that, I would have been sacrificing a lot. It didn't feel in alignment to me. I didn't match up with this publisher. It just did not feel right. It did not feel good for me. And actually my eyes were open to quite a lot. And I was like, actually, I don't think that's for the highest good of all. So I surrendered and was like, I trust this book is going to come out in however it's meant to, whether it's self-published, hybrid published, I'm just going to trust. And what ended up happening was a publisher who is way more aligned to my work, who love and respect what I do. They don't want to change me. They don't want to change my work, anything like that. The best publisher came along for my books. And that was only by letting go and surrendering, but still holding that vision that a traditional publisher would come along and would be that right fit. So although it was slightly different to my manifestation as such, truthfully, my book still came out into the world. It's traditionally published, it's here, you guys are reading it, and it was with the right thing for me. So we have to remember that we can set our intentions, we can put it out there, and if you know in your soul that it is truly meant for you, you're not going to be sat there fearing. You're not going to be sat there worrying, because you will feel that peace. You will feel that calm where you're like, yes, this is for me. So this is how you get into that natural state. If you're not feeling that, or you're trying to convince yourself of that, then you're still in that second belief stage where you've got to build up to that trust. You've got to build up authentically and naturally as well to that letting go and surrendering state. And it's a very natural state. And you know, you do have to lean into it as well. It is a process that I constantly have to check in with myself quite frequently on. And as Gabby Bernstein would say, when you think you surrendered, surrender some more. Like, you have to lean into it. And it is a process of checking in and vibing and saying, right, do I feel attached to this today? Where am I on the scale? I may kind of go back and forth. I may start to feel very surrendered and relaxed with stuff. Then a couple months down the line, I'm like, nope, you've attached to that again. So it definitely is a leaning process. It is a process of checking in, of vibing how you feel, leaning into that space, but also when you've got it, it feels very natural and it feels good. It feels natural. It feels peaceful to be open to all those possibilities. And I think as well, sometimes we can really hold on to the weight of our manifestations, and it can weigh us down. It can feel heavy. It can feel tiresome. It can feel relentless. And this is again where it's super important to really focus on that letting go and surrendering, because this is the stage it needs to happen, because you don't need to carry that weight. And remember, we are co-creating with the universe. So a lot of the time you'll have like two ends of the scale. You have people like me who are manic manifestors, where they'll go like 90% of the way, like be like, this is gonna happen, I'm gonna make this happen, yes. And they don't create any room for letting go and surrendering. And I honestly don't think I ever used to let go or surrender at all. So you have that side of the scale. Then you also have the other side where people will go 10% of the way, where they might be like, I really want to win the lottery, but they won't actually be, you know, entering the lottery or buying a ticket. So we have to co-create with the universe. And getting to that fourth step of letting go and surrendering is part of the co-creation process, where you're then witnessing that you've done your 50%, that you've showed up, you've taken your inspired action, you've trust, and now it's time to let go, surrender, and let the universe deliver whatever is for your highest good. Create that space for the universe to meet you halfway. And this or something better for the highest good of all is always a statement or an affirmation that I always say to use with your manifestations, because that book example is one. And, you know, to give you kind of a more broad example, is like with a house, for example. If you found like the dream house and you're like, yes, I want to make an offer on this, yes, I want to go for it, and you know, it wasn't to happen, you might be like, well, what went wrong? Like, I thought that was my dream house, I really wanted that house, but my offer didn't get accepted, it fell through or something. But then actually you might find that a couple weeks later or a few months down the line, an even better house, which is like closer to the schools you wanted, or is more affordable, or has extra room and is actually cheaper in price, comes up and it's even more perfect than the one you thought was the dream house before. So this is what happens. This is how the law of attraction happens. It never subtracts, it always adds, if you are not to get that precise manifestation as such, or that one thing. If you had that intuition of like, this is the house, but actually it ended up being another house, this is, you know, part of that soul plan, that sacred plan or divine plan, where the universe knows what's for your highest good. And most of the time we're like, we know what's for our highest good, but sometimes the universe really, really does know what's for our highest good and what's going to give us the best lessons, what's going to help us expand and grow, and what we signed up for when we came down here. So again, like if you're in that stage of like you had that intuition about that house or whatever it may be in your life, but you're struggling to let go and surrender, or you're struggling to let go because maybe things have gone continuously wrong, and you're like, but is this house gonna happen? Is this career gonna happen? Is this romance gonna happen? And that's where you're at with letting go and surrendering. It's about that trusting in the universe, trusting in yourself, trusting in the process, trusting in divine timing. And that's our third step of law of attraction. So really you could be pivoting on the second and third step when actually you think you're in letting go and surrendering the fourth step. And you know, even likewise, if the offer got accepted on that house and then it fell through, then obviously you would find that other house. Or maybe the offer gets accepted, it all goes, you know, running smoothly, and then actually you end up seeing this other house and you're like, okay, like I think this is a better house, let's pull out of the other one. So anything can happen. And with letting go and surrendering, it's not giving up, it's not negative, and it's not saying to the universe, I don't want this, or yeah, I'm not bothered about this anymore. The universe knows, your energy doesn't lie. The universe knows you want that. Your request has been heard, and all you have to do is authentically and naturally go into that place of letting go and surrendering, which is saying, I'm okay with both outcomes, this or something better, for the highest good of all. And there are so many instances in my life where I've got that like exact manifestation and it's been fantastic, and vice versa, where I've had the manifestation but just in a slightly different way of how I saw it, and it's still as freaking amazing, if not more. So again, it's reminding yourself of, if we are too rigid, if we are like, it must fit in this box that I've created, then the universe can't co-create with you. That's not co-creation, that's your process. That is you just saying this is how it must be. Whereas when you open up to all possibilities and open up to the hows, whens, whys, how it looks, etc., then, and even just trusting that process of, even if you do go for that house and then something else comes up later on and you're like, I think that's actually for that's better, that's for our highest good. Again, you can have those situations where being in that letting go and surrendered state enables you to make a decision for your highest good, enables you for multiple possibilities and outcomes to come in. And you're able to actually see, you know, just like with the book publisher, for me, that new publisher was a better choice and more aligned, and I wouldn't have to sacrifice anything, or, you know, I would have been sacrificing with the other choices, which would have been my quote unquote, my manifestation, but what the universe actually delivered. And you probably would have found that that would have fallen through anyway, even if I went for it, because it wouldn't have been aligned. It may not have been, well, it definitely wasn't for my highest good. It may not have been able to happen at all. So then I would have ended up here anyway, but having gone through maybe a slightly different journey or a tougher journey. So for me, it was tuning into my intuition. And that is the most important thing I would say here. Like, trust your intuition. Like, trust your intuition with letting go and surrendering, because your intuition doesn't lie, and you know, you're able to make those choices. You're able to say, I trust this, I know this is gonna happen, so it's okay for me to let go. It's okay for me to surrender. It's okay for me to be present, to enjoy life, and trust the universe is meeting me halfway right now. And you know, I always find that when I'm like really focused on something, or I'm like, this must happen, come on universe, like there's that resistance, there's that want, that need, that resistance that's not flowing. Whereas when I'm like looking the other way, or focusing on something else in my life, or just living life and being present, that's when that energy can shift and that manifestation can come in, because my energy is focused elsewhere. I'm not obsessing, I'm not controlling, I am surrendered and flowing. And I really invite you as well to look at your easiest manifestations. Like, what has been the easiest manifestation for you? And what did you do which made it so easy? And a lot of the time people will say, well, Emma, it was some freebies, or a little bit of money, or a free coffee, or something like that. But actually, why was that manifestation so easy? Because you didn't put attachment on it, because it wasn't the be all and end all, because it was like, well, it's a free coffee. If it turns up, great. If it doesn't, it's coffee. So again, we as humans put that emphasis on like the house, the career, the love, whatever it is, the car, whatever it is you're manifesting, the grades, the examinations. So if we saw our manifestations as easy as that coffee, or as, you know, this or something better for the highest good of all, and didn't put that emphasis or that pressure or that weight on it, but you're, you know, again, focusing on other things, focusing on what's thriving in your life, living your life, being present, and not letting there be heaviness with that manifestation, you're going to get into the same vibration you were with that free coffee or whatever your easiest manifestations were. And I always know myself that the easiest manifestations are the ones where I don't care, where I'm like, you know, yeah, that would be great, but you know what? Not fussed either way, and then boom, it's there. But naturally, we're human, we're going to have wants and desires, and it's perfectly okay to have them and want things in life. Of course it is, and it's perfectly okay to ask for those things as well. But it's really about you questioning that need and that want. Is it trying to fill a void? Are you trying to fill a void with that? Or is it actually just, you know, it feels good, like, yeah, I would love this because it feels good, and yeah, it would like feel happy to me? Or is it trying to fill a void? Do you think it's going to fill a void? Do you think it's going to make you happy? Look at this side of it as well, because this is where that attachment will be lingering, where you can go to the second belief stage and work through those to be able to move to trust, to be able to authentically and more naturally lean into letting go and surrendering. So it's a very natural process which cannot be rushed, and this is why it is a case of like making sure you've gone through those those 3 prior steps, and then reminding yourself of leaning into that letting go and surrendering of, it's okay to let this go, it's okay to hand this up to my angels, it's okay to hand this up to the universe. I don't need to carry this weight, I don't need to carry this pressure, because I trust that all is well. I trust that this is going to happen. I trust that if it's for the highest good of all, it will happen, this or something better, for the highest good of all. So allow yourself to get present, because a lot of the time of letting go and surrendering, it's future tripping. And I'll hold my hands up, I used to do this. And also look at the divine feminine and divine masculine energy as well. I'm naturally more in my masculine energy personally, and if you have no idea what I'm on about, every single human being has divine feminine and divine masculine energy in them. Do some research on it, because it will really help you to understand what I'm trying to get at here with the manifesting process. So for me, I'm more naturally in my masculine energy, and manifesting is naturally a very masculine energy as well. So it's so easy for us to control things, want things, attach to things, be like, come on, let's make this happen. It's very much that masculine execution energy of like, let's go, let's get this done. Whereas the feminine energy is very flowing, trusting, very receiving energy of going with the flow. And I always know when I manifest with my feminine energy in a relaxed, surrendered state, I manifest so much quicker and so much more powerfully, and it feels better because I'm not attached. I'm not there like, this needs to happen. I'm like, I trust, I've put it out there, and I'm in that state of this or something better for the highest good of all, where I don't need that thing, but it would be lovely to have that. It would be amazing to have that. So if you're needing that thing, you're attached. And this is the key. You've got to work on that. And this is where you face your worst case scenario. This is where you think about your plan B. So again, open up to all possibilities. This or something better for the highest good of all. Because when we're trying to fit everything into that rigid box, like I said, of like the hows, whens, whys, how it looks, how it happens, this is how it must be, the universe cannot enter. The universe cannot come in and co-create with us. The universe cannot deliver what is meant for us, what your manifestation is, if you are set on it having to look a certain way or be a certain way or happen in a certain time frame, for example. So allow yourself to flow into that feminine energy. Allow yourself to trust and flow and see what the universe has in store with you. Invite in those creative solutions, invite in that energy of surrender and flow, and see what happens. What's the worst thing that could happen if you were to let this go? Sit with that today, maybe journal on it as well. And like I said, if any resistance comes up, fear, that's the place to start. In the second step, believe. You're not in that fourth step if you're doing that. And again, the trust. If you're not trusting the universe, if you're not trusting yourself, or, you know, knowing in your soul that that was going to happen, then it's always going to happen, and that you can let go and surrender how, when, and why it happens, you're in that trust stage. And the one thing that really helped me with my books was that underlying knowing of, I know this book's going to come into the world. I know this book will be here. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know what this looks like anymore, but I'm open. And the very same day, my publisher dropped into my inbox, like they do. Well, they actually don't, but it happened. And the rest is history, as they say. So by letting go and surrendering and asking for those creative solutions and help from the universe, the right publisher was able to come in because I'd let go, I don't want to say of my ego, but I'd let go of that resistance and that, well, it has to look like this, which probably was my ego, let's be fair, but it was, again, just dropping that and saying, I trust the universe knows what's for my highest good. And once again, it truly did. And one quote I always took from Gabby Bernstein's The Universe Has Your Back, which is a great book if you do really struggle to let go and surrender. That was the book that really changed my game and like really changed my perception on how I let go and surrender and why I needed to let go and surrender, because I don't think I ever did let go and surrender ever in my life before reading that book. So it's a fantastic book, highly recommend. And obviously in Positively Wealthy as well, I go through actual practical tips and give you coaching exercises to actually work through the letting go and surrendering stage whilst manifesting your desires as well and helping them come into fruition for you. So there's different suggestions there of different kind of topics of books. But start off with the question of, your manifestation is not going to happen. Where did that hurt on your body and why? Tune into that space. Maybe it's on your chakra system. Tune into it and see why that feels triggering to you. And that's where you can start with this work. So don't worry, your manifestations are gonna happen. I'm not just like saying this and they're not, they are gonna happen. But I always use this as a great starting point. And even on myself, I use this to say, right, where's that resistance? Where's that attachment? Where is that fear or limiting belief that is keeping me attached and not allowing me to, you know, naturally flow into that ease and grace and letting go and surrendering. So I hope this video has been useful for you guys. As always, please do let me know your thoughts, suggestions, and what you do to let go and surrender in the comments below, because I'm sure anybody watching would love to hear what you do as well. So thank you so much guys for watching my video. I appreciate all your views and likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon. Don't forget you can also join my free Law of Attraction support group over on Facebook, where you can join myself and the like-minded souls, where we talk all things Law of Attraction and spirituality. And don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments box down below, because I love to reply to them all. I hope you have a great week, whatever you are up to, and I'll see you all in my next video, which will be next week. Lots of love, guys.